Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, it's a message for the landlords. Maybe you want to be a landlord, maybe you are a landlord, maybe you're a tenant and you really want to understand what is going on for landlords at the moment because you're hearing that tons of them are quitting the market at the moment. Well, this is for any landlord that is considering quitting. I'm going to tell you whether you should or not, whether it's time to wave the white flag, because let's face it, there are a ton of things that are against you right now, and potentially they could get even worse with the new Labour government because every week something is coming out that is not great. Before we jump into this, as always, if you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit the bell notification. We're on the way to 31,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Am I here? Smash like, tick or like, do something to that like button. That really, really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And I really appreciate everybody that does it. So take a moment to do that now. So let's have a look. What is going on? And we're going to talk through all the difficulties that landlords are facing at the moment and maybe give you some solutions. So, interest rates. That's been really hard for landlords recently. If you are a landlord, you'll know most commonly you'll pay interest only. If you're not a landlord, maybe I'll quickly explain. Landlords on a buy-to-let mortgage, they pay interest only. That's just how they're set up. That's how lenders do it for the landlord. And that means that if you've got a 1% interest rate, which some of us did, and then the interest rates went up to 6% due to inflation, that meant your payments went up 6 times. Now, that was really, really hard for a lot of landlords. Meant that they needed to push rents up significantly or maybe sell their property. Well, here's the silver lining to that now. Interest rates are likely to drop quite quickly now. America is potentially going into recession. The unemployment is rising. The Federal Reserve is cutting 0.5% in each round. The first round they went 0.5%. That's likely where they'll keep that going now. So the rates will come down very fast, which will be very good for us moving forward. Today, it's better, significantly better than it was a year ago, but I do understand your pain. It is tough. So interest rates are moving in the right direction. Now, what could you do if you have fixed a rate and it's high? Maybe you fixed at 5% or 6%. And now you're looking at rates that are 3.75% and you want some of that. Well, have a look at the terms of your mortgage because there is an early redemption statement, but it might be worth doing that. It might be worth redeeming early because it's often on a sliding scale. I just got a mortgage illustration today and it's a 5-year deal. The first year, the penalty, if I pay back early, is 5%, 4% after that, 3%, 2%, and 1% if I do it in the last year. So it goes down on a sliding scale. Maybe you took a 2-year deal and maybe you've only got to pay 1% in penalty if you pay it off early. It might be worth considering doing that. That will help you with the interest rates. Next, selective licensing. This is in Hastings where I rent properties. It's pointless. It's a fee. I don't think it's a big problem though. Selective licensing in Hastings, you just pay them 500 quid every 5 years. They don't really check the property, which I think is pointless. If they really want to improve the property stock, which they say that it's doing, they should have someone come around and look at your property. They don't. So don't get too worried if selective licensing's coming into your area. It just means it's a small fee. It's 100 quid a year, basically. So not too bad. Section 24. If you know what Section 24 is and that's hitting you, that's because you're getting taxed on a higher rate, significantly higher, more tax than you would have been 5-6 years ago. You've got some options with this. The options are to not keep borrowing money, to effectively maybe move your payments onto repayment and start reducing the debt so you make more margin and profit. You can increase your rent. That will increase your margin as well. Rents have gone up 8.5% this year, which is good for you, not so great for the tenant. Or if you've only recently bought the property, you could potentially look at reselling it to yourself in a limited company because the capital gains, etc., might not be so bad. If you've owned the property for a long time, that's not really going to be an option. So Section 24, it's not great, but it's not absolutely a killer. I've got most of my properties in my personal name, my new purchases in companies, but I get around it. Like I don't have massive problems with it. I don't leverage myself massively, so I still have some margin there. Section 21. Now this goes with the Renters' Rights Bill. The Renters' Rights Bill, I've done a video 2 weeks ago. It's got 70,000 views. Go and check that out. The Renters' Rights Bill has things like you must consider the tenant having pets. You must consider it. You're not forced to have that. Some landlords have got confused here. You're not forced to have pets in your property. If you have a leasehold property in particular, maybe the leasehold says no pets, you're not going to have to do that. But you do need to respond to the tenant in a timely manner. And if they do have pets, you have the right to enforce that they must have insurance for the contents of the property, and so they don't damage the property. And if they do, the insurance will pay that out for you. So that's a fairly positive thing there. Rolling contracts is in the Renters' Rights Bill, meaning you're not going to have 6 months tenancies anymore. You're not going to have annual tenancies. The tenant at any point can give 2 months notice. Now, some people will take the mick. They will get a tenancy, they'll have the property for a month, and then they'll give notice and they'll leave quite quickly. And then you've got all the fees again of starting again. I just think that's going to be rare. I think if you use a letting agent, they will vet the person. They'll check their employment status. They'll check that they live in the area, so they haven't come in from abroad for a temporary holiday. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people think. So I just think that part of it isn't going to be too bad. The Section 21. Now, that I do understand what you're coming at if you're frustrated with that. That's a no-fault eviction. It means you can get your property back within a few months if you want to sell it, etc. Now, that's going to be gone, but they'll bring something else in. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think. I do believe that they will have the ability to get the property back if you want to sell it or move back in yourself. And so that is probably what a lot of landlords will do. Look to sell the property and then get the property back that way a lot faster. So that, I think, is going to be okay. I wouldn't have a massive consideration about that. Now, EPCs. This one, it could be expensive, couldn't it? So they're saying you've got to get your EPC up to a level C or above, or you can't rent your property. Or at the very least, you have to have spent at least £10,000 trying to do that. Now, it's not £10,000 that you spent historically. So if you've already bought double glazing last month or whatever, that won't count. It will be from the date that this law gets enforced. They're saying it has to be done by 2030. The Conservatives tried this. Possibly Labour won't even be in power in 2030. I don't see this happening. It's been pushed back so many times before. I just can't see them enforcing it. Half of UK property is a level D at the moment. Half of all the houses in the UK are a level D or below, which is meaning there is millions of properties that need to be done up, and it's just not going to be possible. We don't have the skills, we don't have the labour force to do this. I just think that this will get kicked back. I just don't think it will be enforced. So I'm not saying it's definitely not, but I just think that I've seen it before. It's been cancelled so many times, kicked back so many times. I wouldn't lose massive sleep over it. What I do think might happen is the government might get some schemes where you can borrow for insulation and maybe pay it back in a different way. That could be an option. Now, this one, the capital gains, there's a ton of landlords selling properties at the moment because they believe that Labour are going to put capital gains tax up in the budget next month. I think that's likely to happen. But what I also think is that you might struggle to sell, even if you list it today, by March. Like, a lot of things have to fall in place in order to get a property sale done. If there's a chain with other people buying it and stuff like that, It could not be, it could be something that might just not happen. And so you're still going to have a massive tax bill, and then you're going to have a pot of cash that you've wasted 20 odd % on with tax. Then what are you going to invest it in? You've got to invest it in something, the stock market that's volatile, cryptocurrency that's volatile. For me, my opinion is that this will come good. I feel that if some landlords leave the market, rents will go up. And I think rents will go up significantly, which could be good. But I also think that it's not going to be as bad as everybody thinks. So I just feel that being a landlord, having capital appreciation, having rent that comes in is a great way to be an investor. And my recommendation is that you stick it out. The good landlords will stay. They'll make more money than ever before. The bad landlords and the rogue landlords will be squeezed out the market. Let me know your thoughts, questions, opinions, and what are you going to do if you're a landlord in the comments below. Do smash like, do subscribe, and check out all the other content on my channel, including this video right here.